Today's date is July 16th, 2020, Friday. The time is approximately 10:50 a.m. I am approximately on 6 minutes on a Sony digital voice recorder. I just started a new recording. I also have the laptop on. It's been on for about 8 minutes, 40 seconds. And I also have another cell phone recorder. This was given to me from Michael Fox, so I believe it holds the interests of the persons that may have been a part of the conspiracy to murder my mother. So if they're getting this, hopefully they get it all in. Um, First, this is also to note I'm on notebook 32, page numbers 1504 to 1507. And I'm going to be identifying what I'm disclosing here as evidence of organized serial murders being committed on my family, obviously from police corruption, organized crime, including human traffickers of children. So I do my best to try and keep notes. And this is also to prove that I do in fact live here at 1-101 Lauren Avenue in Winnipeg, right here. And this would be a notice, a legal notice from the landlord a few months ago, proving that he has me as the tenant living in this house, in this residence. So what I'm going to be disclosing here today is, or before I even start, this video is also to the attention of Mayor Brian Bowman and Premier Brian Pallister regarding some of the concerns I have. I've been sending emails and making attendances. I've been banned, or unconstitutional ban at City Hall, Winnipeg City Hall. The legislator's been accepting my documents, my packages, but they haven't been responding, so I'm a little concerned by that as well. So this is for today. I'm going to the legislative building. I have to, hurry up, but I have a 60-page submission complaint for the Manitoba Justice Department or the government, the same thing, in respect to a July 13th, 2020 incident with Manitoba Justice Safer Communities Ballon Santiago, who used to be a Winnipeg police detective sergeant, or I forget, but I put in some lengthy information, background history of me in Santiago, and he's would be identified as a conflict of interest in respect to an October 17, 2006 Manitoba Avenue arrest incident with me and another person. So on July 13th, he came here and he attempted to evict me. I have it captured on video. I'll be going to my grandmother's to download these videos shortly after this when I'm ready to be going. So I'm going to be alleging that was a criminal incident, intimidation incident on behalf of the Justice Department and Winnipeg Police. The Winnipeg Police who attended said nothing, virtually nothing. There's no complaints on the members that attended that day, but it's the fact that they're showing up with the police, and that's a form of intimidation, obviously. But no complaints against the actual Winnipeg Police guys. But this complaint is solely against Ballon Santiago. And I'm going to be alleging, if he can't prove or substantiate me allegedly being on his surveillance selling drugs out in and out of this residence, I want to move forward with criminal charges of fabricating evidence, intimidation, public mischief, and criminal harassment, and possible conspiracy charges for trying to make me look mentally ill or drug intoxicated as early as 2017. So, in respect of to my concerns, this was a shirt from Lori Dawson, my mother's best friend. The date on this shirt, it's a Cancer Care shirt, Cancer Care Manitoba. And on the back of this shirt, it has volunteer. I haven't opened it since I put it, so it should be there. I mean, I'll be stunned if I open the shirt and it's not there, but it says volunteer. And I didn't want to say anything, but I thought I'd bring it up. I'll probably open it later. Or maybe I'll even do it now on the video while I have a quick chance. So, and the day that I found out my mother would probably have cancer would have been October 3rd, 2019. And that would have been Lori Dawson walking in here with Braden and attempting to break the news of that my mother had cancer. So this shirt I'm going to be using as evidence. I can tell that this is financial. People who have a lot of money can commit these crimes and get away with it and do it as long as they have influence courthouses and RCMP and things like this. So The reason I'm using this shirt is because my mother's proudest moment would have been her volunteer award that she received from the Manitoba government with Premier Gary Dewar, from Premier Gary Dewar. I put some extra attachments on it, of course. And then here's the photograph of what I'm alleging. And this is just a note that in the back to the legislative building it says CCCC. And I noticed I picked up on a number of threes between Mr. Ferris and Jordan, the pharmacy. And I won't go into it too much other than that. Just I'll leave it at that for now. I'll explain it later. So put this aside. And so what I'm going to be saying this shirt, the Lori and her conspiracy members, and I'm going to be alleging my landlord Brendan as well. And the city of Winnipeg for all the unconstitutional bans have most likely participated in a conspiracy here to murder my mother, and they left a lot of mockery evidence behind. I've been trying to report this, and I've done so for a long time, and nothing's been making it out. So the first degree murder conspiracy allegation will arise at my mother's most proudest moment is the volunteer award, and that Lori Dawson over years had acquired this shirt in one way or another, however it may have played out. I don't expect she would talk or give out any information. There's also a box in there in the corner. Well, might as well go get it. I should have had it brought out. This would have been the first box that Lori Dawson brought into our residence when we lived on Watson, Unit 26 Watson. Award-winning. And I made some attachments or writings on it. And she brought this in, and KAR means there's a Dale Donovan. He just a saying, not a gang or nothing, just a saying. He used to say, "Kill all rats." And I look at the numbering and some of the things that it said, and some of the incidents that occurred over time, the mockery incidents, and I have reason to believe that Jordan and Lori are most definitely a part of probably what's going on, but we'll see. So and what strikes me, I should mention, the award-winning aspect on it. It was award-winning, right? Kill all rats. That was the first box she brought in, and there's my mother's volunteer award, Lori's volunteer shirt award, cancer care with October 3rd. So, given the implications of how this conspiracy started, cancer started off from a residence, my mother being executed in the hospital. Obviously, this is police and government corruption committing these acts on us. So I just want to now say, for evidence, right to the point, the evidence of the murder and conspiracy suspects, and, which would be Karen Fulham, the Executive Director of Judicial Services from the Winnipeg Law Courts building. There would also be Michael Fox, and I'll explain that. My landlord, Brendan, and, well, Lori Dawson, of course. And I would obviously say Chief Danny Smythe, the persons holding powers of attorney fraud over me. Most likely Sherry as well. Sherry Fox or Hastings or Weeb or whatever her last name may be. It looks like she's forging documents for the Courthouse and Justice Department under Susan, and the evidence is a bit overwhelming. The connection for my landlord is before any of this stuff transpired, and his role may not be as bad. He may just give this, someone might have told him to give this to us, as in, he may have not known all the facts, okay? But I don't know. So he gave an aqua key. There was issues. My mom had an aqua shirt. I turned that into a rope thing here, and I put it entwined in Lori's shirt. And it got into the point where I was raising my voice at my mother over this shirt. There's reasons. I sent a FIPA request to Chief Glenn Joyle. No response, but I won't get into it other than that. So this key came from Brendan. And the awkward thing was going on between me and my mom, the shirt, and then all of a sudden the Lori shirt, and it appeared that someone was encouraging my mother to wear their shirt. I explained it to her and she would still wear it. So it seemed like someone was going out of their way and encouraging my mother to do this stuff. And now I have reason to believe that it was done so with the intent to make me look bad. I still, overreacted, but the circumstances, if people knew what was going on, my brain and the mockery and teasing they were doing, they would be upset too. It was unfortunate. I took it out on my mom and raised my voice at her and yelled and things like that, right? So, The evidence is that the key came. I have Lori's shirt here, and then at the hospital, the volunteer on the back, the my mother's volunteer award, the box, award winning, and then receiving these specialty coins from a Tim Hortons within a week. 14 is probably improbable. If that makes sense, right? Two volunteer dimes is when I received the second one. That's when I became suspicious. That's when I thought the most of my, if not all of my interactions at the hospital were probably under surveillance, but under for this purpose. And I would suspect major robbery, contract hits, and disguising it as police operations. So when I received these two volunteer dimes, I also got the shirt from Lori from the hospital. My mother's volunteer award. I quickly realized that they were trying to maybe play me into something, or I don't know. But over time, in the last 6, 7 months, I've taken the time to realize that no, they were mocking me, and someone's wanting me to pull up the evidence on them. And I think that's maybe a reason why they're taking the time. But I am starting to get concerned that I'm being set up for a major conspiracy, human trafficking, murder, things like that, from what I reported. So, and my concern is the November 6, 2016 Fulham letter, Karen Fulham. And this is right away to note, the day that we received the aqua urine from my mother, that would have been November 6, 2019. I was starting complaints in 2006, November 6, 2017. And this is the response I got from a Karen Fulham, Executive Director of Judicial Services. And that would be the original signature where it says yours truly. And to note, to prove that this came from the Justice Department, here's 3 other separate letters that were signed from Susan Jervis, parent ADM, Assistant Deputy Minister, and Chief Judge Margaret Wade. Hers is the most authentic material here. Miss Judge Weed, Chief Judge Weed, also includes, well, here's her signature, and she puts an attachment for the Assistant Deputy Minister for a Freedom of Information, and she provides a signature of SN, Susan Jervis. I have reason to believe that Susan Jervis may be that of Sherry, because she forges the signature of Gwen, Susan, and a few others. So in this, again, Susan Jervis. This came from the Justice Department. Susan Jervis. This is supposed to be the November 6th FIPA release, respecting a ban that was being imposed, and there's the signature. But there's a lot of suspicious activity on the mail postings. The ones that have the labeling where you can rip off, those are the suspicious ones. So another one came when I put in for a FIPA request. This, again, Susan Jervis. That's the information. The acceptance at the Manitoba Justice Department. Again, Susan Jervis, and that would be Sherry's birthday, October 24th. And so my concern is that the reason that I've identified Michael and Karen Fulham as a possible conspiracy to commit murder on my mother would be that of this ID right here, this photo ID of Michael Fox right here. And my concern is, when he was staying here, he left this. It's a fake ID, and he left the fake car insurance. Just, about a week or so ago, I noticed on the back side of it the signature of Karen. I don't know how to say what he put there, or what was put. But Michael was being a kind of being a retard when he was here. I gave him a little bit of shelter, and I guess he took it upon himself to be a part of something. What concerns me about this signature is that it's the exact same signature of the Karen Fulham from the courthouse of the November 6th letter. That's the original letter, and it looks like the last name where it's supposed to say Fulham looks like it says F-U ha, like fuck you ha. So, and again, this came November 6th as well. We got the keys. This was the shirt, plus I'm alleging the happy birth dates relating to my case. And now I'm alleging that the courthouse is participating possibly in organized serial murders because of, or hits, however you want to look at it. These look like to be serial offenses. Oh God. The concerning part is that I've been receiving correspondence from another alleged executive director by Sandy Kakowski, I believe. Right here, same office, original signatures. These are 2 letters. That's the Karen Fulham, and this would be the justice who accepted it, PVG Johnson. Back to the intimidation of the November 6, 2017 going into the 2019 Aqua plus the shirt, and the latest letters coming from the executive director. And this is the note since my mother's passing and the human trafficking incident with Pallister. After trying to report this, the attempted murder of my brother Christopher Hastings occurred in Stony Mountain, and to me that was obviously a hit. That was it was going to happen either way. And then the resulting there was the death of my uncle Douglas Hastings. What concerns me is that there was always speculation that the November 2nd, 2002, or what I forget, but the Sean Moore shooting death, where he was shot in the head at a crack house, that was intended for my relative Doug Hastings. I know the person who did it. I spoke to him. I get along on good terms with the guy, but it's a greasy atmosphere, right? But his name was Sean Moore, and the guy that did that was Pussy. But the date that happened was February 2nd. So, and this is the letter I received, and then this, in my opinion, that represents Doug Hastings, that they probably most likely killed Doug, OD'd him, something to that nature. It would have been the first. The second letter would have been that, again, from Kalkowski, April 14th, 2020. And to me, this one represents Chris's latest stabbing that happened at Stony Indian Posse, and Hells Angels, they share the range with the Hells Angels in Bellingham. So I put the evidence together of the aqua urine being given on November 6th, the letter, the signatures, the signature of the identification that Michael has, the other dates, and the reason I picked up on the dates is because they were executing crimes, government conspiracy crimes to commit murder and organized crime on me and my brother and my family now. And that was being done so in prison with the use of the RCMP in Ottawa. And that's when I started to catch on. They were picking birth dates on me in my case, and then now they shifted their things onto complaints. For example, the last thing that my mother seen on TV regarding the Winnipeg Law Courts building would have been the September 26, 2019 feather ceremony. And I'm not trying to bring anything into too much disrespect, but the last thing we seen on TV was Judge Glenn Joyal, Chief Judge Justice Glenn Joyal, doing the feather thing. And when my mother was dying, Lori Dawson had brought this feather, and I wanted to be buried with her in my mother's grave, and I obviously said no. And I caught on to that right away. But other than that, I don't want to bring that into the issue too much. I just wanted to let people know that this was given to me from Lori Dawson. She wanted to bury with my mother in her grave, and this is the mockery evidence that these individuals are leaving behind. So for me to bring this up, I don't want to cause any animosity, but I won't go on about it either. But I'm just gonna let you know that this is what was given, and I'm gonna not bring this up to any other persons outside. No, I'm not going to give that to the media. I know that's a little could be, a lot of honor and honesty behind that. Okay? So I think that pretty well covers it. And here's just information just showing that my mother passed away. I'm going to get this stuff all authenticated. I still think there's a major fraud going on. And when Michael left this ID behind, this is around the time that I got a membership from the Duckworth Center. His girlfriend Allison, who works for the Manitoba Justice Department, had got us in touch with the person doing that. And this is also to show this. My mother, we lived here. While living here, I used the internet under the Shaw account of my mother, Karen Hastings here. She was paying for it. My brother was paying for it. I don't know if there's any receipts. I suspect there's going to be a major fraud claim here going on, but that would be me doing it. Anyone that attempts to claim that they were a part of this, I'm going to pursue them for high treason and crimes against humanity and things like that. So it's really, if they're getting together as a fraud to try and cover up what they did, including murders, and now trying to profit off of the crimes that have evolved into crimes against humanity, into now high treason. I would hope that democracy would take a stance against something like that. And I have a bad history and reputation, criminal record. I got away with a lot of things. I know that. But you want to let you throughout history, there was also the mobs and the Hell's Angels, and those guys are criminal organizations. I had a good 6 months, let's say, and a few other incidents in my life. But those guys had a lifetime of a system of corruption and organized crime. I was never involved in that kind of stuff. All this stuff that I'm doing, I'm picking up. I learned out myself, and I laugh at this one. But I am a true grade 7er. Like I was, that was my highest grade I achieved in school, and I was pushed there. I had a horrible childhood. So anyone that tries to rob me for this, I would hope they would come to their senses and realize that they're trying to rob a grade 7er. So I just thought I'd bring that up. And a lot of these documents were acknowledged. And if this is Sherry forging these documents, which I think it is, this one, I tried to put a complaint in about the ban at City Hall. And, it was pretty straightforward. And they couldn't answer too many questions regarding constitutional, it was so bunk. But that was the signature got. And again, it's with an S. So all the S's and Karen Fulham's and Gwen's that are coming in, that's probably Sherry and most likely a source from the Winnipeg Law Courts building. And I suspect Attorney Tara Walker, because when I picked up the Fulham letter here, this is my original notes from that day, that Attorney Tara Walker went in before me, and the courthouse would request me to pick up these documents in weird locations. No proof of process. And they kept using the same reoccurrence Sheriff Officer Don. He acknowledged Karen Fulham working there, things like that. So if that's the case, then I believe I'm uncovered a major conspiracy at the courthouse and me being followed, as in they're keeping us quiet and they're using the same recurring people. And while they're keeping this quiet, they're probably surveillancing me and taking out hits and making it a mockery on surveillance. But I'll leave it at that. I talked quite a bit, 22 minutes, and I'm gonna send this to the political leaders, to the city of Winnipeg. I'm gonna ask Brian Bowman if he could somehow, possibly. I spent a lot of money here on photocopying. You guys, time two crew. I bought this laptop computer that's almost useless at times. But in the last few months here, I spent nearly all of my social assistant EII benefits on photocopying and things that I can't afford. And I smoke weed. That's all I do. I don't do any other drugs. I don't drink. I called the sex crimes unit the other last whatever because I was upset that I was being harassed from a certain activity that I'm alleging. And that, I went and had a few beers that night, and I called because I'm worried that they say if I do drugs or drink beer that I'm going to black out and rape someone or do something, so. But anyways, this is just to prove that I spent hundreds of dollars photocopying. I don't have everything out in order right now. I have things put away in tubs and things like that. But I spent lots and lots of money, and I'm going to, the next week or so, I'm going to have this presented and ask if you guys could reimburse it under, whatever it may be. I'll figure out when the time comes, or figure something out. I'm gonna ask if you guys can help me out with $2,000 or more, whatever it may be, to further this cause and just to help me out. I'm facing eviction after this. The condition of this house is deplorable. I can't complain because I haven't paid rent, so that's not the issue, and it's really not the issue. But I could use some help. This place has been like this since my mother passed away. I don't have all the lights on, but I sealed everything up after May 9th, after that incident. I don't want people trying to say I snuck out in the middle of the night and raped someone or something, right? So, but the reason for the what you see on the back of the wall here The reason for that is because I'm concerned that when I leave this residence, people are coming in here and pretending to live here and do whatever and whatever it may be. You know, like a fraud. They're doing it. Oh, when Curtis is out for many hours using the internet at Granny's, they come in here. You know, it whatever it may be. They may say, "Oh, there's surveillance on the streets," but I'm worried about the the financiers that can do certain activities like this. It's building tunnels, small tunnels, and I don't know. I'm just saying I don't feel that I don't feel secure here. I feel like I'm being ripped off because I'm not receiving any original letters. I'm being banned from everywhere. I'm receiving these documents. People are being murdered, so I have a lot of anxiety going on. And this is also to note that I tried to speak with Nurse Chantel from HSC, Dr. Zimmer, and I'm going to be pursuing criminal charges against her for intimidation and participating in a conspiracy to fabricate evidence. So I just want to note that. But I'll leave it at that, and I'm hoping to get these materials sent off hopefully by 3 o'clock today. Just going to drop it off and get them to sign for it. And I'm going to ask if you guys could send this back. I'm going to fill out a feedback and ask if you guys can send us back and possibly even provide another copy. If you guys would be able to do that, that'd be awesome. That would prove that you guys, were in possession of my materials and that you're trying to be as, you know, however you want to look at it. So no, we'll leave it at that.